familiar jolt of pain runs through me as I bring my hand to my mouth and bite my thumb, the angle cheated out so that the audience can't see the blot of blood. The scar tissue on my fingers have gotten to the point where it's becoming harder and harder to punch through the thickened skin with my teeth, and the irony taste still sucks ass, but the effect is always a crowd pleaser. Case in point, the 2-bit Andes in the front row start hooting and hollering as the smoke begins to magically plume from the hem of my skirt, engulfing me in a wicked effect. And I concentrate hard to expand the illusion as the blot of blood dances on the edge of my thumb. I'm not able to pat myself in the back much or yell out, "Hell yeah," since this kind of trick of the arcane has a whole lot of moving parts, and I'm not the type of girl to half-ass stuff like this. A little bit of fuel from the blood magic, and then even more from the validation feedback loop of the crowd. The more people going gaga over the smoke illusion, the stronger that illusion becomes, and the realer it manifests as. Now that I've got a pretty decent mist around me, I wipe the blood off on the side of my dress and begin the monologue, hoping that my vocal warm-ups backstage were enough.
Now, ladies and gentlemen,
I say, and immediately I'm like, hell yeah, because my voice comes out awesome, projecting to the back of the house. They must be really digging the smoke effect if the magic kickbacks enough to even amplify my voice.
let me tell you a story real quick. One that my mama used to say to me all the time when I was just a girl. She said to me, Syldove. That's my name, by the way.
A wink, a flourish, sensible chuckles from the audience.
She said to me, Syldove, when you look up at the sky at night, what do you see? And I'm like, well, Mama, I see the moons and the rings, of course. And they look really pretty up there at night. She nodded and placed a hand on my head to guide me to look up at the sky again. And she said, yes, little dove, that's right. But the moon and rings look rather lonely up there, don't they?
The smoke continues to rise, filling up the stage. I guide it with my hands, conducting it so that it's thicker around the edges but thinner around myself. The audience has got to see me, after all. I picture Mom's eyes looking at me as I remember the story, soft and blue, like mine. And I can vividly recall her gentle voice. That voice isn't doing too well recently. The smoke weakens just for a moment as my skin feels colder, the wound on my thumb throbbing for just a second, before I get my head back into the game.
She said, did you know, little dove, that there used to be many friends in the night sky? 1,000,000 bright, absolutely gorgeous stars dotted on the horizons of this world. And I remember thinking, yeah, I know about the stars. I've seen them in books and movies. But my mom, I think she knew what I was thinking. And she said to me, very sweetly, but almost with a note of sadness, in certain parts of the world where there's less people, you can just look up and sometimes see the stars. But did you know, Syldove, that once upon a time, you could look up anywhere and see them? Back before light pollution blanketed the cosmos in darkness, you can be right there in your bedroom and look out the window and see all those millions of radiant stars up there with the moons and rings. And I thought to myself back then, I mean, how unfair is that? I never even seen the stars in the sky once, but if I was born a few decades earlier, I would have been able to see them in person every single time I went to bed.
I feel the sending stone in my pocket buzz, and I want to curse myself for not just turning the damn thing off before the show. There's a second where I think it might be Mom, but it's not the usual time she calls, and she's not one to break routine even with how sick she is. It was probably just an ex, or the debt collector, or any one of those spam calls that I'd read about on MagiMagiNet. I try to ignore the vibration as I ready for the big finish.
But lovely ladies and gentlemen, gathered here in the prestigious Militia Mole Theater.
I barely avoid smirking at the ham-fisted plug, but it was a contractual requirement.
What if I told you there now exists a way to view the stars just as the men of old did years ago? What if the modern-day malady of air pollution were no longer a concern when it came to your observation of the heavens? Sit back, ladies and gentlemen, and might I present you to...
Hands outstretched, smoke in position, audience in anticipation. My body tenses up. Damn it! The stone's still buzzing. It distracted me from getting into position to bite the other thumb. The audience's expectations aren't enough to fuel the big finish, and I can't bleed out some more power without it looking totally obvious and giving the game away, let alone these people thinking I'm some kind of lunatic cannibal. It's going to have to be a non-physical sacrifice that pushes the magic over the edge, and it's gonna have to be something good. I'm not the type of girl to half-ass stuff like this. An image flashes into my mind, and I don't know why it's the first thing that does. 5 years ago, when my mom took me ice skating for the first time, it was embarrassing, never having ice skated before, even though I was 22, but Dad was always scared I'd fall on my ass and break through the ice and drown to death or something. After he died, Mom took me out to the frozen-over harbor to show me the ropes. I remember the feeling of gliding over the ice and leaving trails from my skates scratched into the surface. And I remember Mom taking my hand as we tried to make ornate patterns with those scratches, and I remember falling on my ass, although I did not break through the ice and drown to death. The memory makes me smile. The wound on my thumb burns, and my skin feels cold again as I bid the memory goodbye. In the split second that I decide to sacrifice it for magical power, I feel tears well up in my eyes, and there's a tug of regret, a collapsing feeling in my chest. The burning in my hand becomes unbearable, and for a moment I picture my thumb bleeding again, drops falling to the floor and sending shockwaves through my bones, and I want to reach into my skull and hold on to the memory, and I say to myself, that I'll be able to make memories like that again when Mom feels better. If she feels better. No, when she feels better. That I'm not throwing away the last happy memories of my... My eyes are wet. I don't know why. I grin as I feel my reserves of illusionary magic amplify. Time for the big finish.
Might I present you to... the stars in the night sky!
I release the energy as all at once the smoke shimmers, expands, and folds into itself. The fog brightens, sharpens, manifests itself through the entire theater, not just the stage, and I clench my fist together to squeeze at it, like turning coal into diamond, and I know that I'm successful when I hear the gasp of the crowd. The smoke? No, it was no longer just smoke, it was cosmic dust, and suspended within this dust were beautiful pinpricks of light, illuminating the room, seeming almost realer than I was. People got up from their seats, swiveled around, mouths open, as they took in the constellations manifesting around them. The ache in my thumb dies down into nothing. Jackpot! I smile widely as I feel strength return to my body, feel my tears vanish and my chest calm as I can finally breathe again. The feedback from the crowd is intoxicating, every single amazed spectator feeling like $1,000,000. After about a minute of oohs and ahs, I allow the illusion to begin to fade, dust drifting back to the hem of my skirt, stars shining brightly before gently fading away like the last flickers of a flame. As the theater darkens once more, I curtsy.
Thank you, you've been beautiful. Simply beautiful.
I speak, although the roaring applause from the crowd drowns me out.
This was Syldove's spectacle, only at Malasha Mule. Please stick around for the next performance, the pyrokinetic Blake Cardinal. Thank you, and good night.
With a bounce in my step, I exit off stage as I can still hear the applause behind me. Stepping down the stairs of the left wing, I see Blake Cardinal himself in his dapper suit and tie, a stagehand trying to attach a mic to the side of his face while avoiding getting burnt by the embers burning along the sides of Cardinal's mustache. There's a petty little surge of pride in my chest at being able to project well enough to not require a microphone. Well, Cardinal grins as he looks me up and down out of the corner of his eye, not moving so that the stagehand can do her job properly. Thanks very kindly for the plug. That was good stuff, little dove.
Only Mama can call me that.
I tease, walking up and pulling a carton of Firebucks out from my bra. I take out a cigarette and extend it to Cardinal.
I left my lighter at home. Please?
Can't you just bite your other thumb and illusion up a lighter? Cardinal asked, raising an eyebrow.
Yes, but I don't want to freaking bite my thumb if I don't have to. Shit hurts.
I waggle the cigarette a little in his face.
Please, pretty please. I worked my butt off today. I deserve a cig.
Cardinal weighs it over before a faux sigh escapes from his lips. Save one for me. I plop the cigarette I'm holding into his breast pocket and giggle at how it looks like a writing instrument some kind of middle manager would keep in his pocket. I take out another cigarette, waggling it in Cardinal's face the same as before, and he tilts his head slightly upwards, one of those embers on the side of his mustache flicking off and landing directly at the edge of the cigarette. I smile, bringing it to my lips and taking a deep drag, immediately feeling a warm fuzziness dig down into my chest. Don't blow it out on me, Cardinal warns. Also, happy birthday. I turn my head once I've finished inhaling and blow out the smoke to my side. I try and fail to make a smoke ring.
Birthday's actually tomorrow, but thanks.
I giggle, voice hitching slightly as I cough at the end of my sentence. Reaching over, I run my wounded thumb over the plume of smoke and a singular wisp of light manifests within it.
There, a little star for you, for being so considerate.
The stagehand chuckles, and Cardinal looks at the miniature star held inside the smoke, his grin widening a little. It's a good trick. Is the story real? With your mom?
Yeah.
I smile.
She's a total hippie like that. Old magic, real environmental type of gal. I love her for it.
Well, send her my regards. I'm hoping for a swift recovery, Cardinal says. By the by, Bruno wanted to talk to you after your show upstairs. Now, don't give me that look. I don't think it's anything bad. I think it was just contract stuff. Payroll exemption forms? The stagehand shrugs her shoulders. I saw Semity sign one earlier, at least.
Awesome. I love payroll.
I sigh, flicking cigarette ash into the backstage trash bin.
Thanks for the light. See you guys around.
Waving goodbye to Cardinal and the stagehand, I weave my way through the backstage labyrinth of the Malasha Mule. It's my understanding that this theater was once part of a college campus that split off after the rebellion drained its financial resources badly enough to pawn the whole building off to Bruno, and I can definitely see that. Big open hallways, backstage to account for student traffic, an indoor black box theater that definitely used to be some kind of classroom, and not least of which, signs on the wall that still have information regarding registering for classes during the sunken moons. God, how long have those been there? 20, 30 years? I brush my way through the stagehands and other performers, almost getting clobbered going around a corner by a wizard's staff, but I don't let the possibility of nearly colliding headfirst with a 7-foot stick get me down. I'm still feeling great after the show, although it's anyone's guess as to why. Was it the excellent performance? The firebuck that I've already smoked all the way through? Or the wave of arcane power I feel from all those people? Must have been 100 or so, validating my illusions so much. Some sort of cocktail of all threes contributing to my chipper mood, and I practically skip up the steps to Bruno's office, knocking out an old Malashian jingle on his door.
I told you to buzz off, Semity.
I hear from inside.
It's Syldove.
Oh. Come on in then, Syldove.
I open the door, the old, dusty smell of Bruno's office hitting me in the face like a brick being thrown out of a car at 80 miles an hour. Bruno himself is seated at his desk, a thin man with long, delicate fingers and the head of what I first thought to be a flamingo, but what Bruno clarified is actually a roseate spoonbill. His long avian neck was almost compressed inwards on itself like a slinky toy, and his red eyes peer at me behind bulky spectacles. I pause for a moment. His eyes. They look sad.
I imagine you and Semity had a fight?
I ask, closing the door behind me.
He's the first one I told.
Bruno says.
You should sit down, Syldove.
I freeze, my hand still on the doorknob in the position I was as I closed the door. Almost like I didn't know my next stage direction.
Uh-oh.
I take a breath, a small grin still on my face that I was desperately trying to keep up.
That kind of talk, huh?
He doesn't immediately respond, so I sit down across from his desk. I find my hands start fidgeting with the sides of my skirt as he reaches a winged arm over to a plastic shelf at his side, grabbing a clipboard with some documents attached to it. He places it on the table, and I peek down at it. Lots of numbers, lots of names. The only name that has a signature thus far is Luke Semity. Right below him, Fantasia Viggiano. Me.
Syldove,
Bruno says, clasping his hands together as he angles the clipboard in a way that both of us can see.
congratulations on your show tonight. I wasn't able to view it myself, but I could hear a bit of applause from up here. Excellent as always.
Why, thank you.
Now comes a bit of bad news.
Bruno says, clearing his throat.
A lot of bad news, unfortunately. As you know, the theater's been under a large deal of financial strain recently. The cost of maintaining business in Malasha is significantly higher than it was even just last month, let alone last year.
Hey, now, that's what I don't get.
I say. Less because I have a point and more because there's this sinking feeling in my gut and I want to cut Bruno off before he can get to the end of his thought.
I mean, bombed out buildings, too much snow all the time, everybody's always so unhappy. Malasha got hit hard by the rebellion, and the crown fall, and the old war more than most. Wouldn't that increase business? Everyone's so dour, right? So they should come here to get away from it all.
If only that were true.
Bruno sighs.
The truth of the matter is, nobody has the disposable income to indulge in such entertainment anymore. Thousands are picking up the practical magics just to stay employed. Brick-and-mortar magics, you understand. They work all day and night for minimum wage. The people just don't have the dosh or the time and energy to be indulged with spectacle magic anymore. That's why we must cut back.
Cut back?
I look down at the paper again, looking at the numbers. I squint.
Wait, this isn't...
Your new pay. Yes, it is.
Bruno says, and his tone is laced with regret. I stare at the number, almost willing the ink to change, for Bruno to flip the desk or something and yell, "Gotcha!" But it doesn't happen.
Bruno?
I breathe out.
This is less than half of what I'm making right now. Bruno, I can't even survive off of what I make now. My mom hasn't been able to work, and we've got a house and debts. Bruno, I mean...
A nervous laugh escapes my throat, and I register that my hands are now fully clutched onto my skirt, almost to the point of hurting the thighs underneath.
I mean, I've been skipping meals, Bruno. I've been doing really, really good in saving and being good, and that's with what I have now. With this, I have to find another job. No shit. With the job market here right now, I don't think I'd be able to do that. I'd have to sell the house and move into some cheap apartment since the retail value won't be good. And where's Mom gonna go when she's out of the hospital? Is it just gonna be the two of us? And it's so tiny.
Syldove,
Bruno interrupts.
please.
Don't tell me to calm down!
My hands leave my skirt and slam onto the desk, and a cry of pain comes out as my thumb screams out in hurt.
Bruno, can't we work something out? I don't know. I'll work more shows. I'll do more around here. If you need a temp stagehand, I can pull double. You know I can handle it.
Syldove, that's not going to work.
Bruno says, wiping behind his spectacles.
Everybody's pay is going to decrease. It
It
just...
won't work? You haven't tried. You haven't...
I've stood up somewhere along the way. I don't know when.
You haven't tried to use me more. Please, I promise you. I can do the stagehand stuff and work more shows. If it doesn't work out, that's fine, but at least you've given me the chance first. Give me a fighting chance so then I'm not dead, and you haven't even tried.
Syldove,
I freeze again as Bruno stands up to meet my eyes, his neck extended so that he's close to me.
Syldove, I have tried. Over the past year, I have tried so very hard. The numbers do not add up.
He places his hands on the desk too, spinning the clipboard around to look at it in more detail, a feathered hand clutched to his forehead.
It's not you. It's not even anyone. It's just the way everything lines up now.
What do you mean?
I sputter.
I don't want to say this. I don't want to have to say this.
Bruno says.
But it is dire. More than you could think. It's not just that we need to cut back, it's so much more than that. Eventually the theater will have to be sold. That part is inevitable. It's just a matter of how much time until we reach the point that we're in the red. There's no amount of extra shows or additional labor you could do to negate that fact. My family can't live off the proceeds of this theater. They can barely live off of what this territory has to offer. There's a reason people are moving to the mainland, to Reset City. There's just no money to be made in Malasha anymore.
My breath hitches. I don't know if it's the cigarette smoke still rolling around in my lungs or the tears that are beginning to well up in my eyes.
The crowd.
I say, and it sounds more pathetic than I could have ever begun to imagine.
They loved me today. They thought it was so good.
Stop crying. Don't cry in front of your boss.
I was so good today, Bruno. You should have seen it. If you saw it, you know I was good. You wouldn't do this. You see, I was so good today, Bruno.
Syldove.
Bruno steps around the desk and reaches out a hand.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
Don't touch me!
I step back, crossing my arms, gripping my shoulders safely.
Sorry. Please, don't touch me.
Bruno gives me a look, and I hate it. It's pity. No, it's not pity. I just think it's pity because I think everything's so awful right now. He's not a bad guy. When he says he's sorry, it means he's sorry. But I can't look at those eyes behind those glasses and see anything other than something that makes me sick to my stomach. I'm yelling. I'm crying. What the hell is wrong with me? I was on top of the world a second ago, and I'm letting just this one bad thing get to me like this. What's wrong with you, Syldove? There's a vibration in my side. What? Did I hurt myself grabbing my skirt? No. It's a buzz. My sending stone again. Taking the lapse in conversation as an opportunity, I take the stone out, turning the screen on. My eyes widen. Malasha National Hospital. 3 missed calls.